Sherman is my nickname.
Okay. Hey, everybody. We're with Elbert Sherman Owens and Derreck Sue and two candidates for Oakland Mayor 2022. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. We're doing, considering that we've had a lot of improprieties here with the Oakland political process, a lot of misinformation and misdirection. So we're working on the issues, and we're going to just keep the pedal to the metal and try and make a difference.
Before we focus on that, I want to focus on Sherman, who we playfully called Shermanator off camera. Sherman, I introduced Sherman to American Pie. He's never seen it, never had no idea. So now he's been appropriately baptized in silly American culture by me. So at any rate, that's a good way of starting off levity-wise. But hey, Mr. Owens, tell us how you came to run for mayor of Oakland.
Well, the reason I wanted to become mayor is I wanted to change something. I wanted to change the ownership process. I wanted to change how the mobile Medicare work.
Hey, Elbert, can I get you to move closer wherever the microphone is so we can hear you better? Yeah.
I want to change the way people live. In order for me to change that way, I had to experience. I experienced a lot of it. And I would work my worst enemy to go down the track that being super. Change it for the better. People help people. And the only way that you can help someone is to help yourself. That's my goal. But
Hey, Derreck. Hey, can you help him get to the microphone closer?
Well, the microphone is in the earbud. He just has to speak up. You hear me okay?
Okay.
So Elbert just needs to speak louder.
Yeah, you talk louder then. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Elbert, so make sure we hear you. Yeah. Yell it out. Yell it out.
Yeah, just speak up.
Changing a lot of stuff that needs to be did right. It's a big old long story, but it's not a problem. The problem starts within itself. And getting good character, good judgment. In order for us to go forward correctly, we got to start helping each other. The homeless process, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the recycling process, cleaning up as we go. It's not a lot of work. It's on the hill. And that's why I want you to run for office. But in running for office, also a detour. I was told to do something. And then at the last minute, it changed. So it's a no-win situation. I couldn't go for sponsors. I couldn't do this. I couldn't that. Not to mention, I had shingles after a week or so after the running for office. But as soon as they picked me on the back burner, the shingles came apart. So it was a no-win situation. And it's really disappointing to how the commission treated me. Knowing that I have burning desire, I still have a burning desire. I don't want to. I just lost a brother inside of a homeless camp. And I want to be able to help people in any way possible. Because that I'm working my way forward, going forward by any and every means necessary.
Hey, is there a way? Hey, Derreck, did you guys split the microphone or something, or
No, I made sure that Elbert had the earbud with the microphone, and so he just needs to speak up because
Can you hear me now?
yeah, because
Okay.
even sitting behind him, I'm having difficulty hearing him.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I can hear you. So is there some way that you can make it so that we can hear him better? Maybe your
Well,
earbud.
let's try switch
Yeah,
this one
try
right
that. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better. That is much
Okay.
better. Yeah. Yes. Much better. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So, that's my goal, to go by the rules and regulation of how ethics commission said that the 501 said we would get a fair deal.
So
I don't see no fair.
hey, Albert, let's go back and repeat what you told me again because it didn't come through clearly. So now we can hear you very well, right? So repeat what you were talking about, please.
But basically, when coming off into running for the mayor, saying I wanted to help people change, and the homeless people out there running the street, the mentally ill individuals that's out there running the streets, and to change a lot of stuff, I had to participate. I couldn't do nothing on the back burners. I had to jump off into the water with sharks. I'm swimming with sharks, dangerous territory. But by me being the barracuda that I am, I fear nothing because I know that the people need it. And in order to show the peoples that I'm concerned, I got to lead by example. See, when they see me going forward, they can stop and think, hey, he's doing it. It can be did. So that's what my heart is. And when they told me at the Ethics Commission that it was an error over to my campaign, they put me on the back burner for about 2 weeks, a week and a half.
Hmm.
By the time I got on the ballot, it was over. Um, Getting sponsors, doing this, doing that. I had no room for it because you know what I'm saying, due to the speed that they were saying, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And I was I'm running to walls. But if I had enough time, like everybody else, I could have went and got my sponsors. I could have got billions of dollars off the sponsorship. I got the knowledge, I got the skills, and I got the ability to help people, help myself. But talking about is one thing, doing it is another. So that's where that's where my heart is at. People helping people.
What was if you became mayor, what would you do for Oakland?
First of all, what I would do for Oakland, I start with the homeless. I would show the homeless how to make money off the debris that they throwing on the ground. I'm recycling everything: cans, bottles, cars, so forth, so on. I'm showing them whatever they bring to the dumpster. I'm gonna have a dumpster for cans. I'm gonna have a dumpster for bottles. I'm gonna have a dumpster for cars, just so forth and so on. So when they bring everything to the table, not only that, but if I was the mayor of Oakland, I would also fix it to where they can make money too by employing them. They want to be responsible to show up for work every day, but the minute they show up to clean up, they get paid that same day. All the proceeds that they get off the ground, the cans, the bottles, so forth, so on, is theirs. Oakland be paying them to clean up, to beautify Oakland, and for the elderly, the people that stay inside homes, and I would have it fixed where people would go and check in on them to see how they doing. You know what I'm saying? They need to hear from somebody. Uh, Bring them a pet by a rabbit or something so they can play with a cat, whatever. Because this is this is something that I visualize inside my mind. I come from a good background, but I did not take advantage of none of it. I did not educate myself. My family is the richest family in the Bay Area, but I can't talk about it because I didn't nothing to say. Once my family members started dying off, everybody that was uh, trustees of the proceeds turned mute.
Hmm. They turn what?
So mute,
Mute.
mute.
Mute. Got it. Mute.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's nothing to talk about because they're not here, so it's mine. But anyway, if I would have paid
You mean like
attention,
they turn their back on you in a sense?
they turned their back upon their promise to my family members,
Oh.
saying, saying that you would do this, you would do that for the peoples, as well as my son. You know what I'm saying? And what they did, they showed their loyalty, they showed their concern by being there. The minute, you know what I'm saying, me family member fell out, they turned mute, stopped helping, moved on.
Hmm.
He don't know nothing. He don't know that that's his property. He don't know that all this belongs to him. I don't know. I still don't know. But that's the irreverence. Me helping people. If I had a lot of money, my main goal would create house for the people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and nice areas. And showing them that, you know what I'm saying, me is the people that's on a good level, living rich, staying inside the skyscraper hotels. I would fix it for the city of Oakland to have 1/3 of moving anybody on any level, on any floor in there. 1/3 of their 1/3 of what Oakland gives. They don't need people don't need to know that Mr. Hudbound, whoever he is sponsoring all this, but helping people. So that's what I would do if I was the mayor of Oakland. I would do a lot. I would constantly and I would listen to the peoples. I want to know what the people's got to say in order for me to correct everything. So that's what my mind is, and that's what my heart is. Anything else that you would like to know from me?
Yeah. What? When did you sign up to run for mayor, and when
Okay,
did you going to start regarding the signatures for you?
I started. I went signed up January, February. I need to
Mhm.
check my calendar, but it's in February,
Mhm.
and they didn't tell me that it was an error off into my campaign status. I kept calling, find out what I need to do. They said we'll let you know. So when it was time for it to start, everybody was off and running, and I was stuck at the gates. I said,
What
"Well,
is
I'm sorry." I was.
what kind of error?
There was my housing address, and they said I stayed up on MacArthur in San Pablo, and this that, another. But my family, we owned to all the motels and hotels. So the address that they had was 874 West MacArthur. And you know what I'm saying? This was a family-owned business,
Mhm.
but it's no longer family-owned now because I convinced my family member to sell it to Mike. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But then it put me on the back burner, so I couldn't go get no sponsors. I couldn't get no donations. They didn't even give me my candidate folder until after it was close to the end game of running for election.
If you said they put you on the back burner, what is that, Derek? What is that? What does he mean by back burner?
Well, what what eventually happened when Owen or Elbert first started filing his paperwork, there was a dispute as to the address because the address didn't come back as a legitimate address. And so that had to be corrected before he can finish filing his paperwork so that he would get the mailings and any information from the city of Oakland. Plus, there was an issue with his email address. And so once we had that, all of those little things corrected, that allowed Elbert to actually become an Oakland mayoral candidate. But
Mm-hmm.
by that time, everything had already progressed. Everybody was, you know, quarter mile down the track, and Elbert's still stuck at the starting gate because he didn't have his information. He didn't have the correct info for the city clerk's office and the ethics commission. And by the time we got all of that put in place, he was already handicapped by at least 2 weeks. And because of that, downtown, they also told Elbert, everybody has picked up their nomination packet. We don't have it for you, and we have to make one for you. So you are going to have to wait 2 weeks to get one. And that was where he lost the 2 weeks because the city clerk's office said that he was going to be penalized 2 weeks so that they can make up another packet for him. And yet, all of us who called in really early, as soon as we got notification, all the packets were there. When I went to the city clerk's office, it appeared that everybody's packet was there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a stack. And so I was sure that Elbert would be over there because he had his paperwork all in order and he is a candidate. And so, by obligation of the city clerk's office, they need to have all of those packets already made for that person to pick up. And all we had to do was just call in to arrange our 30-minute window so that we can get all the information from Crystal Sam's and an explanation of each line item that is required to qualify for the ballot. And so that's a 30-minute process.
So just to be clear, you're saying that Sherman had all of his signatures?
No, he didn't have all the signatures yet. He didn't even get the paperwork. He was handicapped by 2 weeks just getting his paperwork. And so all people like Lauren Taylor had their signatures in. I myself already had secured a number of signatures right here in the neighborhood. But then those of us like Lauren who filed on at the top of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Elbert didn't even get his paperwork. He hadn't even been handed his packet yet. He didn't get his packet until like the second of August.
Did anybody say why?
They just said that they had to make up another packet. That's what I had heard. And
But wait. Why? I'm not blaming you, and I'm not asking you to answer for the city clerk's office. I'm trying to clarify this mindlessness. It sounds to me like they were looking for a reason to have forgotten him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what it appeared because he was a late entry. He had some issues with the adding of the 501, 301, and getting the clarification on the correct address that he was a resident of Oakland, because that was called into question. And so there were a lot of small issues that had to be clarified before he officially was a mayoral candidate. But then when it comes to the nomination petitions, he had already been a qualified Oakland mayoral candidate. And so there was no excuse for them not having his nomination packet all ready for him to pick up. There was no reason for a 2-week delay.
And that's what set him back.
That's what really handicapped Elbert.
Elbert,
And there was no explanation for it. There was literally no explanation by the ladies down there in the city clerk's office.
Elbert, do you feel like they treated you as if you were an unhoused?
I figured that I come to the conclusion that they had overlooked it and undermined me, and all the above. Uh, it was a win-win, but in their book, had no plan to be winning. They made sure that due to the spaces that was created, but I still kept my face to the grinding stone. I still did my best in getting the signatures. I got over 70 signatures, and just that and other.
You said 70?
I got 70 of them.
That's good.
I got 70. But it is and the way that it all boiled down to me, I got the boot. I got the boot. It was just like I'm trying to I'm learning about everything. I'm new in this politics thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the older lady says, "Man, I don't believe it. You just jumped right into it, didn't you?" She said, "You jumped right into it." I know I can swim, but I know that I had to get in and make my presence known.
Right.
I got to do something in order for me to move forward effectively. I got to get in and show up. But they made sure that I on none of the my meetings that I went to and stuff that I spoke about, my notations, none of that. People never see none of that. So I made sure that the message was sent. When I made sure that the people of all the candidates, I gave them one. Everybody got one. I want y'all to read what was on my mind. I want y'all to see that, you understand me, that we can recycle, we can do a lot of stuff. And I'm watching some of the stuff being did as I speak. I'm not saying that I have nothing to do with it, but I can read well. I'm watching recycling everything. I'm watching to clean up as they go, recycle as they go, and paying the people. You just can't enslave the people thinking they're gonna work. So I had to come up with a plan to employ them, let them keep the proceeds of the recycling process, and pay them at the same time. I'm getting them off into the habit of working, cleaning up as they go, a little bit at a time. It ain't
Yeah.
gonna happen overnight, but it's
Right.
happening.
Hey guys, what are the next steps here? I had Alyssa on earlier. Have you guys had a chance to talk with her?
Well, I enjoyed the interview you did with Alyssa. We're going to be talking a lot on Friday night. Elbert and I will definitely be at the dinner meeting that we're having to discuss our next moves and see where everybody else is in the different process, especially like Alyssa. She's made several complaints to the state election board. So we need to see how that moves forward. Also, the rest of us, we are asking that the Oakland Ethics Commission and also the city clerk's office opens up the because of their improprieties and misinformation, that they should just waive that nomination petition for right now because of the wrong deadlines that they were given to all the candidates, it appears.
Yeah.
And those of us who relied on that information being real,
Mm-hmm.
and we planned our schedules around that. And by planning that, because some of our volunteers are sometimes not able to be reached because they don't have a phone or for whatever reasons, I couldn't get the paperwork back. And trying to get sponsors is also difficult. So there was a lot of people. And then when we start talking about, like myself, I'm a homeless advocate, and also I live homelessly. Uh, and people, when you're talking to folks trying to get those nominations, they bring up those particular topics, such as homelessness being one of Oakland's biggest topics. Uh, and as soon as I announce that I am a homeless person, then everything just really goes south, because I realize that people are frustrated with what's going on with the homeless situation here in Oakland, and the frustration with the homeless. But it's not always all the homeless that are causing the problems. The city has caused a lot of that, and it encouraged criminal activity through the homeless crises, because I myself have had to deal with a lot of the criminals that try and overrun the camps. In fact, just a year ago, if you remember, I was having a lot of situations with a very dangerous auto theft ring. There were 17 armed characters up against me, and I'm the only one armed in the camp. And then I get a stupid message from the mayor's office telling me, please don't draw my weapon and shoot anybody, and just please call 911. So, I gave Libby an answer back that I'm sure she did not want to hear, because I was going to call 911 after I put the situation down. That's when I'll call 911. And so, yeah, because of some recent events here at this particular site, earlier this year we had two homicides within a stone's throw of my shelter. We've also had car thieves and car theft rings come in and shoot at my people. Literally take live ammunition and guns and shoot people and shoot at them. Not shooting them, but shoot at them to intimidate and scare them out of my camp. And they just worked their way down the line until they reached the wrong person. And then this wrong person put one in them, and they haven't been back. And then because of that, the city is very concerned with me shooting more people, and now we have armed guards at night. So the city is spending some money on having armed guards here, protecting a very, very small camp, not to mention the cost of the porta potties, the cost of the shower and laundry service that comes to this site. So because we are Oakland, City of Oakland sanctuary camp #1, we were the very first sanctuary camp in the city of Oakland that Libby doesn't want to talk about. And we were going to be the premier model that she was going to work with back before her election, her re-election back in 2018. And so this was going to be an incredible model that would have been life-changing for the homeless and for the city of Oakland. And this model has already been proven to work in Eugene, Oregon. It's a very successful model with roots going back to 2003. So it's a long history of success that I've been trying to introduce here to Oakland. And we know it works, and it's very cost effective. And Oakland has the provisions and the community land trust to make this work, and without cost to the city taxpayers, to the Oakland residents. Plus, with the $4.7 million that the state has authorized Oakland to get to receive those funds to rehouse and relocate the Wood Street encampment. I've suggested, and I've tried talking with the city homeless administrator on a real plan, a long-term plan that can remove that situation at Wood Street, plus deal with a lot of the homeless situation and mental situation, and also those folks coming out of incarceration, an actual safe place where they can be, where they can receive services, and they can receive mentorship. And
And
yet,
that's the
and
time, though.
yeah, and that's what we're trying to implement right now. But the city keeps shooting themselves in the foot. The city work that was brought out. The tiny home village, the pallet shelters over on East 12th and 2nd Avenue. Well, I was the one who introduced that program to the city 2 years prior to that. Nikki Fornutato Bass, her assistant, Leah, was actually at the meeting where I introduced that. And that's where that came from. But then it takes the politicians to screw up a really good thing. And that's what they did. They took a great program, they made changes to the program that was successful, and now we have that particular program as a complete and utter failure. And right now, the city of Oakland is looking at restoring an affordable housing building on that location and removing the last of the two warring factions that they forced onto that property. And I don't support Nikki Fornutato Bass's reelection because of what she did and how she did that particular
Are you
shelter.
backing Harold Lowe then?
Hmm?
Are you
What's that?
backing Are you backing Harold Lowe, her opponent?
Yeah, I would, because right now it's really disappointing. That program should have been extremely successful. The plan was there, the paperwork was there, all the engagement was there, but yet because they decided on a prison model oversight versus just a plain oversight and advisory committee, uh, the whole thing blew up. And then we know that there was a huge fire there.
Hey, Sherman, who are you backing for mayor now that, unless your situation changes, but given the way they're behaving, it may not. Who do you want to see mayor other than yourself?
Sue.
Derreck. Yeah, Derreck. Good choice.
Yeah.
Well, I myself, I'm going to be backing Alyssa if I can't get on the ballot for whatever reason. I'm going to still do mine as a write-in, and I encourage folks on a lot of the candidates who were disqualified. We're still write-in candidates, so I would encourage folks to have more options by at least exploring us and listening to what we have to offer and what we bring to the table.
What if Alyssa can't get on the ballot? Who would you back then?
I'm looking at Seneca and also Peter Liu.
Peter. Okay. Backing Ignacio and then Seneca.
Right.
And since I'm mad at Derreck,
What?
well, I'll tell you what happened. I'm hopping mad with Greg Hodge. The reason was I hadn't chosen a number 3. And if you make the ballot, but I'll make you my number 3 if you make the ballot. Okay. But if you don't, then I'll make it Alyssa. And then if it's not Alyssa, I may lean toward John Riemann.
Mm-hmm.
I got one.
Yeah.
All right.
But Greg Hodge, throughout this campaign, arranged for me to interview him once, which is a great interview. It's a long one.
Mm-hmm.
But then said we'd do another one and proceeded to make a long story short, ignore my calls and requests again and again and again and again. And finally, when it came time for me to really look at the situation separate from Greg, I thought the city needs a cattle prod, somebody that isn't part of the consideration of public elected officials, but understand how to make things happen in Oakland. There's only one person running for which that's true, and that's Ignacio. Like it or not, that's Ignacio. Now, whether or not I've agreed with Ignacio on something, as far as I'm concerned, is superfluous, because it doesn't matter what anybody says about Ignacio. The one thing they're going to realize they're saying as they talk about him is that he was in the middle of getting something done. They may not like how he was going to do it, but the man is a doer. By contrast, Mayor Schaaf, when it first became apparent that the pandemic was going to be an economic problem, instead of fashioning a way to get money to businesses for pandemic relief early on, back in March of 2020, in May, she established a task force that would meet over a 4 to 6 month period to establish a plan for when we got out of the pandemic. That's stupid. And hey, look, I'm not just saying that now. I said it when she was doing it. I said it the moment I got the press release, because I had done a calculation of our economic impact of the pandemic, and I calculated that we were going to need a government subsidy totaling $9.8 trillion just to maintain the economic performance we had experienced the previous year. And that boiled down to $7,840 per month per household over a 7-month period, and an additional 3.2 trillion in 3.2 trillion for large businesses and 1.8 trillion for large cities in a block. Okay, it's quite a bit of money. And again, the total, but we have a big economy, so 9.8 trillion is what we would need. And if you take a look at what we've actually done, it has headed toward that. Now, the reason we stopped is because we have people in government who don't understand that, first of all, there's no such thing as a free market. A. B, what's happened with the pandemic is that it's cut off my ability to get money to you. If I say, this is what's done. If I say I can't come into your establishment and give you money, what does that mean? That means I've cut off your ability to get money from me, right?
Correct.
That's what was done. That is unprecedented. And yet the government did that. When they did it, they didn't say, oh, by the way, we know we're doing this, so we're going to give you X amount of dollars per month to survive during that period. They just let them die. That's criminal.
Yeah, and it's insane the amount of businesses that Oakland has lost. Long-time businesses.
Right. I pointed out this to the mayor and to anybody who cared or didn't care and listen back then, before she started her program, okay? Knowing full well what the outcome was going to be. To give you an example of how her idea harmed Oakland, Maria Aldretti was the co-owner of Lucas, along with her husband, Rick. She told me that she had lost 8 months of revenue, and in total, they lost 20 months of revenue during that period. Part of that, in that 8 months of revenue that she lost, she was sitting on Libby's stupid committee. Doing what?
I remember.
Okay. Now, unlike me, she was a good soldier and just let the whole circus go on, even though she was being harmed by the circus. And that's the trap that my god sister put us in, which is, I'm the mayor, so you're supposed to respect me. Everyone respects and loves the mayor. No. But this isn't about the mayor or the mayor's face. This is about the 500,000 people that represent Oakland and the millions of people beyond the 500,000 that depend on Oakland in some kind of way. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And when you have a crisis in the city, this is the worst time to throw your ego into it. But that's what she's done. That's what a number of people have done. And they're all Democrats. So, for example, we have this idea that we don't want to put money into the economy because of inflation. Well, hello. I contend that that inflation was started artificially. I think it was started to throw a choke chain around the economy to get Americans to vote Republican. All right, and I think the former president used his world power and favors that he had doled out around the world to buy that condition. I believe that.
Yep.
You know why? Because it makes no sense to me, and there's no mathematical proof of this, that you could have an economy where my ability to give money to you has been retarded, and yet there's price inflation? Because if my ability to give money to you is retarded, what does it mean? It means that demand goes what?
Down. Right.
Right. And that's what happened. You had people quite literally taking themselves off the books. You guys are off the books. You're part of what we call in America the unaccounted for in the labor force participation rate.
Right. Because I left the work world back in 2007, and that was a forced retirement.
Yeah.
And because of my background, I have no work opportunities in the work sector right now. Number one, because of what I did was so specialized, and number two, because of what I did, I now have health issues because of it, and so that prevents me from actually having the ability to do what I used to do.
What was your
my specialty was working in counterterrorism. I worked a lot of human trafficking back in the 90s. You remember there was a lot of military troops used in Asian countries to control opium and other drugs. That was me. I worked on a lot of those details because they involved the United States. They were trafficked from one part of the country, which I oversaw, to our shores where it created the harm. And so what we did, we removed a lot of those terrorist acts because they were harming everybody. And so the information that you would receive in the media was the cleaned up version of what we did. And then, just like human trafficking, my last assignment, while it started in along the Asian Pacific Rim, it ended here in the Bay Area on Craigslist. It was human trafficking, and so I had a connection in that arena that I utilized without them knowing that they were being used as part of an investigation by our government as a counterterrorism issue. And in the course of my work on that one, I was shot and injured, and that's what sped up my retirement because I could no longer perform the things that I used to perform.
Wow. So where are we now? Like tomorrow and the next day, you have the dinner on Friday. Just going, hey Sherman.
Yes.
Keep fighting the good fight, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys are good warriors together. And I'm gonna have you back on the show. Got to.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah,
Hey,
Sherman's going to be with us. Seneca Scott, Alyssa Victory, Peter Liu. Who else is going to be there? But there.
Wait, you said you're gonna have me on it. You're gonna have me on live stream.
Yeah, we're going to have you on there. I'm going to have you. Yeah, I'm going. we'll do this, have you on the phone,
Yeah.
uh, and so that you can see what's going on. Unfortunately, you will not be able to participate in the meal.
But hey, if somebody sets it up with a phone, you can live stream it, put on Zenny 62.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah?
could do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to bring my little stand and the phone, and we're going to set it right there, and we're just going to do what we need to do, talk about the different issues and how we can move forward with this election process.
Hey, do you mind if people come by to give you support? If I tell them, hey,
Oh,
they're gonna
absolutely.
cool.
We've always been an open encampment here. In fact, we used to entertain school functions. Students over here on 70th Avenue, SOL School, and they would come by and they learned about homelessness and were able to talk with homeless people face to face and find that a lot of the things that they thought were true were not true at all. And that was when I actually had a much larger camp, 32 and as high as 63 people. And so we would have local schools come by, we had colleges, we had a lot of different visitors. We even had visitors from out of the country, as far away as India, come here and visit this encampment to learn about our situation and what we do and what makes us different.
So, speaking of your situation, to clarify before we close, you don't have to move right now, right?
No, I'm not moving right now. In fact, has happened, the fact that the city has threatened to move us doesn't mean that they will move us, because with that out of court settlement that the city council approved last week, it was a $250,000 out of court settlement because the city of Oakland and the city council violated the constitutional rights of the homeless folks. They violated First, Fourth, Fifth, Eighth, and 14th Amendment rights. And so that was a partial compensation for the personal losses that these individuals experienced. But Nita B, who is the founder and leader of the 501c, it is required that the city council go back and revise all parts of the EMP to comply with laws, especially Martin v. Boise on the housing issue. And also, NITA is going to, because of what that out of court settlement says, that they cannot close any homeless encampments currently unless there is sufficient housing with a continuum of care. And so by them right now only offering Oakland's community cabins, that does not suffice with the courts. They say that is only a temporary sheltering system. You have to have more permanent solution. So that's where we're at right now. And the threat that the city is going to actually move me, I find very laughable, because right now, under the agreement, the city of Oakland can't evict any homes or any encampments. They can't close us down right now until these renegotiations of terms on the EMP are in place and approved. And the city council hasn't even sat down with Nita B since this has been approved last week. So it's not likely to happen. They can threaten all they want, but just like we see with Wood Street, they threatened to close Wood Street down, and yet here it is months later, and they still exist.
Thankfully. All right, Derek. Hey, we'll see you guys in the backstage. Everybody, see you later with another interview or vlog statement. Actually, I'm going to talk about Howard Terminal about an hour, maybe less than that, maybe a few minutes. But subscribe to Zenny62 and please bookmark OaklandNewsNowBlog.com. That ends this broadcast. Thanks, Sherman, and thank you, Derek.